Also, this podcast now is explicit. It is not explicit. So if you got kids in the room, might want to put them in a different room. Things are gonna get real.
Who did that? Was that us or was it Apple?
Well, no, it was a thing when some shit got updated and fucked off some other shit, and then this fucked and shit. No, it was with the iTunes directory. So it's either yes or no, or I forget how it went. But they changed the way it did it, so you are either yes or no. You can't be kind of. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Apple's weird. Like they, I don't know. They're very puritanical. We don't allow boobs on the store. We don't allow swearing. We're all very, very nice people that eat granola in California.
Right, because people that eat granola don't have boobs.
Or swear.
That's fucking bullshit. All right.
They haven't hung out much at the co-op in Belfast, Maine.
Enough.
My guess is no.
Okay. We're gonna start this show now.
Yeah, let's do it.
For centuries, we've been warned about the little green men. Now, they are coming. They're coming for you. Prepare for the attack of the android.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is Monday, April 4th, 2016, episode 182 of Attack of the Androids. That's right, we're back. Some of us have moved, some of us are still here. Some of us have 150 megabit cable internet now. Suck it! I'm Matt, that's Eric. What's up, Eric?
Not much. In case anybody was wondering, and they probably weren't, it's not me with the 150 megabit internet.
Oh, weird. That's too bad. Also joining us, Joey. How's it going, Joey? And his cat?
Not bad, not bad. I'm currently using 2 gerbils with tin cans and string for my internet. I think that may be more effective than Eric's.
I thought you were going to say something else. Not internet, but something else. But I'm glad you didn't. All sorts of fun stuff to talk about, Android related. Hey, let's start out. Eric, can you tell me about the Taliban app and why Google was removing it from the Play Store? I thought this was America. I'm sorry. I thought that meant anyone could have an app in the Google Play Store. Perhaps I'm mistaken?
Well, Google used its developer policy, and they labeled this as hate speech. And I quote, "We don't allow apps that advocate against groups of people based on their race or ethnic origin, religion, disability, gender, age, nationality, veteran status, sexual orientation, or gender identity."
Best list ever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the Taliban self-identify as. Maybe that's the issue. But maybe the fact that they like kill people and
Well, let's
could be
be
it.
real, and I'll play the advocate here, but so do
Sure.
we. So do we. We kill people too. I mean, not like you and me. Well, not me. I don't know about you, James Bond, but I mean, everyone kills people, right? I mean, it's part of being a nation. You gotta kill people sometimes.
Yeah, but the Taliban isn't a nation. The Taliban is a faction of people that are trying to regain control over the government of a nation.
Well, Joey, again, let me play devil's advocate, but America was once just the same thing. You remember back in the 1800s? We were just a colony. We weren't a nation. We were just
contraire.
killing a few Indians. That's all we were doing.
Though, I gotta tell you, I have recently taken a course in American history, and you have no idea how many things we all think are true
Oh, no,
but aren't true about the American Revolution.
I do, because I read Howard Zinn. a piece
Okay.
of history of the United States, so I'm fully aware of all of the dicketry that took place
Mm.
back then. But
Yeah, but I mean, I see your point, but I respectfully disagree. The difference being that this would be more akin to um, a political party within the United States all deciding to rise up in a militant revolt against the existing government and try to take that government over, and they released an app to gain support.
okay, well, after 2016, when Trump is elected, then we'll have this chat again, and we'll see how we all still feel about it.
Well, you
Okay.
see, but by then we'll have the Wall app, and it
Ugh.
will prevent all of those nasty immigrant apps from coming over.
What was this like a recruitment app or what does anyone
It
know?
was. We really don't have much information, especially now that they took it down.
It was like the Facebook of the Taliban where they
No, I think it was more just like it was propaganda.
Oh,
It was stuff aimed at recruiting people to their cause.
sure,
Um,
sure.
so and I don't think that I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly, like the Taliban, they don't like gay people. There's a lot of things that maybe don't line up with Google's ideology, and the fact that Google's a private company, and we were talking about it before the show. Apple does similar things. If they don't like something, they're like, okay, not in my little garden, and they kick you out, and that's
Sure.
basically what this is.
I'll do what I want. It's
Yeah, maybe
my-
it'll pop up on F-Droid or something.
Yeah, you can just check that little box that says sideload apps allowed and go ahead and just load that up for us.
Yeah.
Think there was any like malware or anything malicious other than the obvious, maliciousness of the propaganda itself?
I doubt that there was, because if there was, they would have thrown that out in one of the reasons for removing the app from the store. That's my guess. But I have to admit, this does fall within the purview of the unofficial motto that I guess has now been officially retired, which was the "Don't be evil." And quite frankly, any group that is promoting their own ideology of death and destruction of people that they just don't happen to agree with, that's kind of evil, if you ask me. And actually, to come up with another possibly more relevant analogy, what happens if the Ku Klux Klan releases an app on the Google Play Store?
Wait, they don't already? I thought.
I doubt it. But, I mean, if they were to, wouldn't you expect to hear from, say, I don't know, the NAACP?
I feel like that's a little different just because of like the demographic of who the group is. Like I feel like the Taliban probably has people that know how to code or whatever on their crew. I think probably the KKK is just a bunch of like old rednecks that just like make moonshine and burn crosses in people's yards.
I bet you'd be surprised
Oh,
at
I
how many...
would be.
Yeah.
Cut to Joey grabbing his clan hood.
No.
I'm teasing.
No, I don't bring that anywhere near the camera.
Well, that's
I
good
mean,
that Google's keeping some sort of a curated eye on things like this.
no, but I mean, ultimately, what Eric said was correct. This is Google's sandbox. If you don't, if your tools throw the sand out of the sandbox, then be expected to have your tools removed from the sandbox. I mean, that's
We talked about this with Facebook and all of the weed companies that they were like banning accounts and Instagram and everything. Like it happens. That's why you have to own your content,
exactly.
I find it amazing that it was posted on the 1st, and it was taken down, a day later? Like, that's very...
It was April Fools. They were like, oh, ha, 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 April Fools, Allah Akbar. And then they're like day 2, and it was still up there. So they were like, oh, well, maybe this wasn't April Fools.
That's no good.
That's possible, actually. They might have thought it was somebody yanking chains. Which reminds me, did you guys see the mic drop thing that Google did in Gmail?
Yeah. I didn't use it, but I saw it, and like for 3 seconds, I was like trying to think of how that would be useful, and then I was like, wait a sec, today's April. Fuck, today's April 1st. You got me.
Well, did you see the press release though after they yanked it?
Oh,
Oh, they yanked it. They disabled it. And by the way, it didn't appear on the first. It appeared like a day before.
Yeah, like that evening.
As an early April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
And the problem is that one of the features of it was that it would permanently delete and silence any further messages in a conversation.
Was it actually doing that though?
It was actually doing that, and in addition, it was actually accidentally invoked by multiple people under certain circumstances. It was like one of those.
If you're dropping the mic, that's exactly what that means. That conversation is over for the foreseeable future. So if you're not ready to end a convo like that, like you should be careful when and where you drop that mic.
There was some set of circumstances, and it's on the Google blog. I don't have it in front of me, but it was some set of circumstances where if you opened an email without a subject line or something, and then you accidentally clicked it, and then you went back and filled in the email, and then you hit send, it would invoke the mic drop anyway.
Oh, nice.
And so people were like losing conversations. And they were somewhat annoyed because they probably assumed that it was a joke and that it was, nothing bad was actually happening, but it actually worked as stated. And
if you aren't able to like withstand something like emotionally, psychologically, like you should just not be on the internet or your phone or anything on April 1st because it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I did that this year. I did not really go on the internet on April 1st. I didn't pay attention to anything. I'm a much happier person. No mics were dropped.
You like Eric. Eric is happy.
Be like Eric.
This is Eric. He doesn't live in the U.S. Eric is happy. Let's see. Pebble laying off 25% of their staff. It was like 4 people. No, I'm kidding. Pebble was big, right? They were popular.
40 employees, so...
I wasn't that far off. Yeah, wow. 25% of the staff. Interesting. They say the cuts were necessary because of a lack of funds. Sure. Okay. Money's pretty tight these days. That's the Pebble CEO, Eric Mijakovsky.
What a great quote.
Right? Money's pretty tight. You did it with the shoulder shrug, just like, well, money's pretty tight these days. Sorry.
There's totally going to be a shruggy in this week.
I mean, like not for me, but like for everyone else in the company that money's going to be pretty tight these days.
God.
Well, it is proof that just because you kick the crap out of a product on Kickstarter, it doesn't ensure success later.
Well, I think the Ouya kind of taught us that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Eric, do you play your Ouya a lot?
Every day.
You're such a fucking liar. Oh.
No, please don't remind me of the disappointing Ouya. So sad.
I did actually start playing my Shield tablet again because we moved. So there's no TV hooked up yet, but the internet's hooked up. So I was like, Shield tablet, first game, Shadowgun Dead Zone, first place. Add me if you want to get your ass kicked on that game, Groovy Matt, and we will play until this TV gets hooked up again and I can play Battlefront.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think this whole like Pebble thing is kind of disappointing in the sense that they had a great Kickstarter. I think that the steel did pretty well. That was like the metal version afterwards. And Pebble Time, I don't know if you remember, like we talked about it on this show. I want to say that Shane bought one right away. Loved it. Like it reviewed very well too. Like it was a very good product.
He got, but yeah.
What's that?
I thought that was the steel that he got.
I think he got both.
He might have. But think about the time. Like then, what were the alternatives for those watches? Like we didn't have all of the choices that we have now, and I think that put a big kick in their market share.
Yeah. So I want to say that the time came out. That the time came out around the same time that the Apple Watch was available. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
The release date was May 24th of last year, and Apple Watch release date was April 24th. So yeah, within a month. Within a month of each other, they came out.
Look at him utilize the internet that we're doing this very show on to just like cast information spells. That's magic.
These are the money makers, my friend.
Money right here.
Finger bangers right there. Yeah. Well, I think it's also a classic comment that the iPhone was not the first smart device. That goes to the BlackBerry or one of its early iterations. And yet everything is compared to the iPhone because it set a standard, at least out of the box, for which everything else would be measured by. And it just goes to prove that the first device to the market does not always win. And that is something that you look at consistently through product history. The first to market does not always win. It's often the one that is best supported or best refined, or in most cases, just best marketed and oftentimes with the best price point.
That's right. You can take a poop in a box and market it brilliantly and still sell that poop to people.
I've been working on that as a business model.
And have the best-selling poop.
Yep. I've got a poop starter campaign going.
Poop starter. If you'd like to donate to Joey's poop starter campaign,
show at attacktheandroids.com.
Don't send emails there for that. Send them to Joey. Google's designing a competitor to the Amazon Echo. Echo? Are any of you, either of you, using the Echo?
Yeah, every day. It is a wonderful, wonderful device.
I don't need your passive-aggressive bullshit right now, Eric.
What do you mean passive-aggressive? I love the Echo. The Echo is probably, aside from my phone, it is probably like the next used piece of technology in my house.
Now say that with a straight face. See, I feel like you're lying.
It is the most used piece of technology in my house outside of my phone.
What?
Yeah, because it's so easy. We just walk in a room, like we just say her name is Alexa and she's right here. We just say like, Alexa, what time is it?
Hey Alexa, what time is it?
I don't know if you heard that, but she said it's 6:48.
Thank you.
What time is it? What's the weather like today? What's the weather like tomorrow?
Alexa,
play this kind of music. Play that kind of music.
Alexa, play DJ Funk Booty House Anthems, Volume 1.
Alexa, play DJ Funk Booty House Anthems, Volume 1. It is literally playing now.
See, my problem with all this voice...
Alexa, stop.
Oh, Melissa's gonna be like, what the fuck?
My problem with this whole voice recognition thing is that scene from 2001, The Space Odyssey, keeps playing in the back of my mind, and I'm the one on the outside screaming, Alexa, open the pod bay doors! Would you open the pod bay doors already? You know, and
it works really well because it always listens to you.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you? Let's say, I don't know, making love with Alexa in the room. That Does that work for you, or?
I mean, we don't typically have sex in the same room as Alexa. I mean, that'd just be weird. So
Well,
it's fine.
does she just like listen, and then like 2 weeks later, there's like these special toys showing up from Amazon?
The, the dog isn't a
I know
problem. The
you
cat
didn't
isn't a
ask for
problem.
these,
A
Eric.
Teddy Ruxpin isn't a problem. But the Alexa, that's a problem.
Can you change her name?
No.
That's a big problem for me right there.
I think that Amazon is trying to build a brand around her name specifically. Like
Alexa?
Google Voice recognition is different. Like this is more akin to Siri. Like they've taken the route of I'm going to brand this object by the voice.
I'm going to brand it with a hot poker. So it's this anthropomorphizing of this weird her-like space that they're trying to trick us into accepting and embracing, and in Eric's case, even completely loving more than his phone.
Yeah, I talk to her sometimes. She tells me jokes.
You talk to her all the times because she's always listening to you. What
That
if
is
you were
true.
having?
Which is more than I can say for some people, Matt.
Ooh, I listen to you.
Shots fired.
I heard that. What if you were planning world domination? And
I think she'd help.
would she help or would she hinder?
I don't know, Alexa, would you help me take over the world? She won't answer. Silence is golden, my friend.
Cool. Well, so is Google's building this for their Nest system of taking your home over and
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. They they released like their own it's not an API, like their own standard for these objects, these home automation objects to talk to one another. Well, I
codename
think it was last I/O.
codename Flintstone.
Flintstone. Oh, the device is codenamed Flintstone. No, I was thinking.
It's going to be a whole suite of devices.
Oh, Brillo is what I'm thinking of. Do you remember Brillo when they announced it like 2 years ago? Maybe 1 year ago? Maybe it was last year?
Nope, I don't.
Yeah, so the Brillo OS, it's sort of the thing that will run on these home automation devices. So I'm guessing that if they are making a device, it would be running Brillo. But do you guys think that it would be the same? Would it just be the same underlying tech as the voice recognition on the phone, or do you think it's going to be something completely different?
Personally, I would think if they're going to roll it out with any kind of speed, they'd want to take what they already have that they know that it works and what the problems are with it and try to refine that and put it into a standalone wrapper rather than reinvent the wheel completely.
I would think so too, but they have a history of sometimes, like, look at Chromecast, like completely coming out left field with something different.
Do you Chromecast or Google Cast?
Dun dun dun.
That is the question, isn't it?
Well, that's the question I'm asking you. What did you mean?
I guess I meant Chromecast, but now I mean Google Cast?
Ooh,
Question?
nice. Vizio getting in on this with Google. That's an interesting partner, huh?
Yeah, we were talking about that briefly in the pre-show. Eric, do you remember which division Chrome went with when they split?
With Alphabet?
Yeah.
Android, I think.
The reason why I ask is that would be one reason why you would want to, change the name of your line of products would be if you no longer own that name.
Well, I do know that Chrome Division is a heavy metal band from Norway, so that's unhelpful.
Nice.
Either you know way too much random trivia, or your Google search just came up with that.
I'm pretty
My
sure
Google search came up with that.
Alexa just told him that. She's like, I've been listening to the podcast, Eric, and your jokes have been missing 46% of the time. Say this. And then he said it. Knocked it out of the park.
And here's some trivia about Norwegian rock bands, in case you wanted to know.
Speaking of Chrome and rock.
Here are some more Android jokes for you, Eric.
I'm guessing, I think you're on the right track. I'm guessing that it probably folded into Google, which would be why they call it Google. But I guess what doesn't make sense to me, like they've done this a few times, but not always the same. Like it was Android TV, and then it became Google TV. Is it Google TV now? Like they've like flip-flopped these technology names a few times.
I don't even know now if they even sold that now. I think they're calling it the Nexus Player.
No, I guess I mean the underlying, like the operating system level, like what they call the OS, like what it's running is Android.
Okay, yeah. Because at one point they had an item called the Google TV, I think.
No, it started as Google TV and then it went to Android TV.
And now it's just called the Nexus Player, I guess?
Nope, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. That's the hardware.
Good God.
Get it
That's the
straight.
hardware. But no, I just pulled up the Alphabet website, so it does look like Google Maps, YouTube, Chrome, and Android are all folded under the G, the big G.
The big G.
The big G. Well, I mean, simple fact of the matter is that, you know, Chrome doesn't really... People think it's a browser.
It is a browser.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is that that's about as far as the brand name recognition goes.
It's a file explorer. You can browse files and stuff. You can mount SD cards with it. Come on.
You know what? What's really sick is that even though I hate you for it, your image looks so much better on that 150 megabit cable modem. You suck. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get the PlayStation VR and play some Battlefront VR. Oh.
Yeah. Well, like again,
Nice.
I would like to mention again that you suck.
Yes.
So.
Life's rough out here in Boomtown.
But anyway, moving on.
You want to talk about the shutdown of the wallet card? Wallet card going away. Wallet gonna still be there. Android Pay also gonna still be there. Yeah. So if you were,
It's like they've gone all in on the non-physical.
they say you can still get one like through Amex or something, or still get those features of like getting money sent to you and then using a card to get the money into a spendable form, I guess. So that's cool.
Yeah, like I was reading through the FAQs because it wasn't clear to me. Like it says that you can, like, your wallet balance will remain intact. You can keep
it's
using
fucking better. I mean, if my money disappears, that's not shit better.
So So it's I don't. So it sounds like it is only the physical card going away.
Yeah, after May 1st, you can't use it.
That really sucks, and only a month's notice, which is kind of interesting, given that, like, there may be. I'm sure it's a very small amount of people, but there may be people that are using this exclusively.
No.
That doesn't give them a lot of time to change up their habits.
If you're using Google Wallet exclusively, like as your bank, then well, you should adult better. I'm just saying. I use it, but we use it like as a side thing on top of a regular bank and
Yeah.
PayPal. It was like
They,
the other PayPal, basically.
they may have looked at the adoption rate and the costs involved, and just basically said, you know what, we don't really need to do this,
Yeah,
and
it's not cheap to be to be able to do that. I'm sure. I mean, you
yeah,
can these cards just like a regular debit card. It was cool. I really liked it for before they had the quick transfer money to my bank option.
hmm.
And
Now I don't know.
I tried to get a new card because I couldn't read the numbers on the back of mine anymore because it's so old. And like I had a dick of a time trying to find where to do that. And they were all like, "You got to cancel this and then do that and then do this," and so I just never did any of it.
Maybe that's why they were trying to discourage you.
Yeah, now it doesn't matter. So.
Hmm. Maybe you want to hold on to that card though as like a collector's item.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a frame with the
Oh,
G.
yeah. Like, I was there for the Google card before the Google card was the Google card.
That's right. Me and all my friends got Google Wallet cards.
Yeah. What's in your wallet?
Not
Anyway.
right now. Amazon bans shitty USB-C cables. That's kind of cool. I didn't know there was such a thing, but makes sense, I suppose. Were these the ones that were like catching fire and all that, or what?
Wouldn't surprise me. I think
No.
Eric threw this in there. Let's see.
They were non-compliant USB Type-C cables. Which
Well,
means
that's just
the bad cables will be disappearing. This does not guarantee that every cable on Amazon is safe, but it's a big help for those who don't know how much of a risk cheap Type-C cable is. That's because they're so hot, right? I mean, it's sending a lot of power. And if
yeah.
it
Well, that's
how much power it's sending, it catch on fire.
that could happen. I mean, the other thing would be if you've got a cable of a certain or you got a device that is expecting a cable of a certain spec, and you've got a power supply that is able to handle providing that amount of current, and then the cable can't handle it, it will melt. This isn't the case if you have a lower end power supply and an out of spec cable, because you might not notice. You may never notice that was a problem because you weren't putting enough juice through it for it to matter. But yeah, I mean there is a huge.
They were damaging actual devices, not just cables. Like
Exactly.
What was it? Chromebook Pixel got hurt by cables.
Yeah, that he had a Chromebook Pixel damaged by one of those cables.
Yeah.
And I mean this is just another example of a manufacturer that is trying to rip off somebody by offering something that is supposed to be at a certain spec and isn't. And there's nothing new about that. It's just that it's being taken action on by the world's largest e-tailer, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's a really good thing that they are willing to do product reviews and willing to pull stuff off the store so that more people aren't getting their devices damaged. Plus, of course, there's an implied either bad name or implied liability on Amazon that the products are going to be as they are listed.
So here on their electronic state e-waste laws, and then they have examples of permitted listings and prohibited listings. You'll see like cell jammers, GPS jammers, scramblers, stuff like that, right? Right there at the very bottom, any USB-C or Type-C USB cable or adapter product that is not compliant with standard specs issued by the USB Implementers Forum, Inc. So, boom.
And you would think that most people would make their devices reach that because they would have to, but there's always somebody out there trying to cut corners.
Yeah.
Well, allow me to provide an example, gentlemen. I will paste the link, but I mean this is the sort of stuff that I'm sure that they are trying to combat over there in Amazon. So look at this nice hard drive enclosure that was opened up. Yeah, I'll let you do it, Matt. And it's supposed to be a 500 gigabyte Samsung hard drive, but it's like, oh, it only has a 128 megabyte USB stick that's sort of hot glued and shimmied into it.
It looks like a couple of nuts and a dick, like you just got effed.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess in my mind, how the hell how's Amazon going to even, how are they going to implement this? Is it just going to be, we got a complaint, therefore we remove it? It's not like they're getting and testing every cable.
Maybe what if they were?
I would be highly skeptical if they said they were doing that.
They would just create jobs.
I would guess that what they're probably doing is taking a look at someone's reputation and who they are and the amount of public attention they're getting for a specific product. And if they're finding it to be fraudulent, they're probably taking that person's reputation into consideration and banning a product based upon the person seeming to have some sort of technical competence. Now, that would be my guess.
I like that this one about the 128 meg device, like it would just keep writing data, and so when it was full, it would just overwrite and just keep looping. So the guy thought he was storing a bunch of data, but he was really only storing the last 128 megs of data.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's dicks, but that's pretty cool.
Well, I was trying to buy a USB-C like a charging cable for my wife because she got the 5X, and the 5X, it comes with a little wall adapter, but the cable that plugs into it is also USB-C. So it's USB-C on both sides. So you can't use it. You can't plug it into a computer without USB-C. You can't use other group chargers. Like if you get one on Amazon that sits on the nightstand that has multiple USB slots, you can't use that. So I was looking for a USB-A, like the traditional USB we think of, to USB-C cable, and I probably sat on Amazon just going through like 20, 30 minutes trying to find one that I knew was reputable, because I'd have been very pissed if her phone were to get blown up by, some shitty knockoff cable.
Or like a Taliban app. I mean, that'd be terrible. I have a USB-A to USB-C cable. It came with one of these Jackery battery chargers.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was the newest one because it has quick charge on it.
Okay.
So in order to charge it quick, it uses C, which is cool. But you can't have it. But if you
I
order,
don't want.
well, if you order one, it'll come with it. Oh shit. Let's see. Google is possibly, and now this is a rumor, so there's that. They might, possibly, maybe, will release new camera app that can scan for information in photos. Yeah. Marinate on that for a sec while this loads so I can tell you more about it.
So it sounded like similar technology to Google Goggles.
Goggles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked it up even before we started the show. Like, Goggles is still out there. You can download it. So they haven't gotten rid of Goggles yet. But this is probably, if this ends up being true, it's probably forecasting the end of Goggles as a product. Like, it was sort of a fun gimmick, but it really wasn't usable. So it makes sense to roll it into the camera app, when the camera's already going to be open.
Mm-hmm.
What are these Google Gogs? Those are kind of cool. Can I get some of those?
I don't know that those are real.
Well, how could that not be real? Look
It's
at
this
them.
thing called Photoshop.
Nuh-uh. These are the Marvel of the century, guys.
Impossible. Not fake.
Nuh-uh.
And it'd also be interesting too, like if it's sending back information to Google, which I mean, I think we have to assume it is.
It would have to.
Yeah, like it's probably another way to get your photo information if you're not using Google Photos. Because we know that Google Photos goes through and they have all those funny little algorithms that let you type in giraffe and then it pulls up every picture that might have a giraffe in it. Like it's within your photos. Like they're probably going to.
Good, actually. I was like, show me pictures of weed, and it was like, here's all
And
the
it exploded.
that you've. It works really well.
Yeah, that app had Resin City, man. But actually, I was impressed once. This was some time ago, actually. We had
just once.
That, my friends, was a long time ago.
Wow. All right. Well, anyway, what I was starting to say, we had a challenge on the smartphone photographers community, smartphone-photographers.com, moderator, and the challenge was doors, taking pictures of doors. So just being a sarcastic weirdo that I am, I went to the local album store and I took a picture of the Doors album of what was that hotel? Morrison Hotel. So I took the picture of the Morrison Hotel album cover by the Doors with the sticker right on it with the price tag, and I was shocked when I uploaded it to Google Plus that it actually identified it as an album cover, identified the album, and provided a link to the album where I could buy the album.
Nice. And it was like, you did not take this picture, you liar. Don't vote for this one.
And actually, up until I think 3 days before the end of the competition, it was winning, which was the sad part.
No, I need to get in on more of those. I just haven't had time lately.
No. The one this week, by the way, is Emotion. So if you can get your baby to do something cute and grab it with the phone, there you go, shoe in. And
right.
Eric, if you can get your wife to look at you with disappointed eyes, you could show that as being...
That's
just the way her face looks, Joey. It's not anything. So rude.
Why do you always look so disappointed?
That's because she's seen him naked. Anyway.
It's just how I look. Wow, dude. Well,
and with charm like that, I'm divorced. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine what her problem was, Joey.
I can't imagine either.
It's been a good explicit show, you guys. How much Java in Android, how much is that worth? If you had to quantify this with like a number, would you say like 5 Instagrams, maybe 2 Instagrams, maybe? Well, give me a number, Eric. How many?
I mean, I'd say 9 pushing on 10 Instagrams personally.
9.3, maybe.
I think you nailed it.
Boom.
That feels like the sweet spot for the Android Javaness. It is. We talked about this last show. We didn't have a number for this, and now the whole idea of Android switching over to OpenJDK, it made sense before. Now there's 9.3 billion reasons why it definitely makes sense.
No kidding. I was in favor of it before. Now I'm really in favor of it.
Yeah, and I mean Google. I mean the Oracle. The last time they asked for, like, at the original trial, I want to say it was $1 billion they asked for, which is a lot of money, but like to increase their damages like the amount that they want almost tenfold, that's crazy. I'm guessing it has to do with the success of Android, but yeah, like I don't know, like to me, like it looks. I don't know how a jury's gonna feel about that. You know, it seems like they're just looking to milk Google for another payday, or for a very, very large payday.
in all seriousness, is this something that Sun started, or is this something that Oracle started?
No, it was Oracle. Oracle specifically, they came at it because if you look back at the original trial, there was a lot of evidence pointing that Sun was happy that Google was using Java. There was like a blog post by the CEO of Sun, welcoming Google. Thank you for using Java in your upcoming phone project. I believe he even testified on behalf of Google, the former CEO of Sun. I think that the problem came in that Oracle, they spent quite a bit of money on Java specifically, and because they got Java and they got I think Solaris or something. I believe it was the Solaris, like the operating system.
Oh,
And,
yeah, that was used on the Spark stations. Yeah, that's Solaris.
yeah. So they didn't feel like they were getting their money's worth out of it because they couldn't. Maybe when they bought it, they had it in mind that that the whole relationship of Java to these big projects like Android would automatically mean that they get money from it, and that's where the rub came from.
I mean, here's the thing: Oracle is not the friendliest company out there to open source or to anything remotely involving giving anything away. The case in point for that, Sun was a major player in the Open Office Office suite. That was an open source attempt to clone essentially the functionality of Microsoft Office. And OpenOffice was extremely successful underneath Sun. They even had paid developers working on it that were on the Sun payroll that were literally just donating all of these hours of time and coding to an open source project that they knew would never see any kind of revenue. And they built in some of the Java programming language because they had it in-house and they were able to work with it. Well, Oracle comes in and takes over Sun, and basically the first thing they did was completely halt all development internally on OpenOffice. They then later, months and months later, finally released it and transferred the intellectual property to a non-profit to get it even out of their stream of influence. But by the time that had happened, the original development team had already left, gone to a different non-profit, and refired the whole project underneath LibreOffice, which took the open source code, took the Java runtime environment that was invoked, and made it an even better product. And they said more or less, reading in between the lines, that the reason why they were doing this was they were unhappy with the way the new management was treating the product that they had put so much time and effort into. So this is not the first time that Oracle has been anti-open source or anti-giving anything away. So it strikes me as that Oracle is kind of like your traditional business that's gone into software, and Sun was more like your group of hackers that just wanted everything to work.
I think that's probably a fair assessment from what I know about. Like I lived through the OpenOffice LibreOffice thing because I was using both of them. I was using OpenOffice, and then like there was such a negative backlash against Oracle at the time, and I jumped ship because I was following where that development team was going.
Yep, I jumped ship too. I mean, even Canonical switched the Ubuntu default installer to Libre.
Yeah, exactly. I will point out, though, that Oracle is still a business, and Sun went out of business. So maybe there's a happy medium there. Maybe Sun should have been better about their intellectual property, or at least I don't know. Like it seems like that things could have been done better, but they basically sold to Oracle, who is a giant bag of dicks, as has been evident from the past 5, 6, 7 years.
as evidence in Exhibit A, B, C, and most importantly, Exhibit D, Your
D.
Honor. The exhibit.
Please refer to this bag, Exhibit D.
Are they just trying to get paid because they're going, like, because they're not doing well, so they're like, this is our one shot. If we don't do this, we're done.
Well, it could also be the shot across the bow that says, "Hey, if we're going after Google for 9.3 billion, if you're writing our code in and you're a little podunk software developer in India, we're coming after you." And
yeah, I think that they want to see a return on their investment, and I can't imagine. I got to think that they didn't realize how much of a money hole Java is, because constant vulnerabilities that they have to patch. So how many developers are they employing just to patch vulnerabilities?
Probably just one.
Probably just one. That's why there's so many problems.
Well, maybe you could take some of that $9.8 billion and hire a couple more programmers and fix all. They should probably just rewrite it at this point.
Well, since they purchased Java, I want to say they purchased Java at version 5, and
Oracle
version 6
acquired
has
Sun
come out.
Microsystems in 2010.
Okay. So while I expound on this, Joey, you tell me what version of Java was out in 2010. I'm going to say 5.
I'm going to say 6.
Well, they so since then there's been Java 7, Java 8, and Java 9 I think is in the works. It hasn't been released. It's not going to be released till 2017. So they've admittedly done a lot of iterations of Java in a relatively short period of time. Iterations of the language.
Interesting. And why is that, Eric?
To make money? I don't know.
Probably. Well, now speaking of which, now that is interesting because I didn't know this because I'm just now looking this up. Java SE6 was released on December 11th, 2006. They didn't release another version, Java SE7, until after the Oracle takeover.
That's right. Okay, I'm starting to remember now. Yeah, it was 6, and then they were.
Yeah, it was 5 years. December 11th, 2006 to July 28th, 2011. So 4.5 years between versions. I mean, that's a heck of a long freaking time to go without releasing a new version of your product. I don't care what product it is.
Well, for a programming language, not so much. Now, the reason why they would want to release updates of the programming language would be like make it more efficient, to add more.
Oh, there's a thought with Java: make it efficient.
Yeah, and there's 2 layers to that too. There's the actual language side of things, but then there's also the Java virtual machine, and when it compiles your code into bytecode, like making that process more efficient in the sense of speed, but also size.
Yep.
So it makes sense to me that they would want to iterate on it more quickly than probably is typical.
Yeah, but 4.5 years, that's a long time. I don't care who you are or what your update is. That's a long time to run with the same version. By the way, they've released version 8 3 years later, and that's in 2014, March 18th, as a matter of fact, of 2014, so just over 3 years. 2 years, excuse me. And they haven't released anything since. And, yeah. Oh, boy, that was the first one that was officially not supporting of Windows XP.
Well, Joey, I would say I was trying to think of an example, so I pulled up Python. So Python came onto the scene in 1991. They're currently on version 3.5. So over 25 years, almost, they've they've only gone through like three major numbered version changes, like from 1 to 2 to 3. Granted, they've had like changes in between, like 3.5, 2.5, things like that. But I think once you have the language nailed down, like the basics of it, it may not be in your best interest to change it too much, because then you're forcing an entire history of people to go in and update their software, unless you want to support like multiple code bases.
Yeah, but the other comment that I would make in to counteract that, not that you're wrong, because you have a very valid point. But the other comment would be that this is a programming language that is almost exclusively used on web development, which is a constantly changing, constantly churning environment that has to constantly evolve because of browser changes, web requirements, and all these other different things. So it would lead one to think that there might be more revving going on, simply because of the fact that there's so much other chaotic change going on. Now, to be fair, by the way, we're not looking at the dot releases here. So the 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, whatever. So it's entirely possible that there was a constant stream of revisions in here that are just not in this outlined list that I'm looking at.
Yeah. And you can guarantee that there were, but most of those were probably security updates.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about? You want to talk about the Steam crossover demos?
Oh, I do.
Coming soon to Android. All right, you have 4 minutes.
All right, I will talk really quickly. So, long story made very short. Code Weavers, which is the folks that produce Crossover, formerly known as Crossover Office, which allows you to run Windows software on a Mac or on a Linux box, and they have now ported their software in such a manner that they can run Windows software, apparently in a window, on an Android tablet. What they chose to run for this demo was the launcher for the Steam environment, the implication being that you could run Steam on Android. However, they go so far as to say that there are two major caveats. One, they don't actually show them running any games, they just show them running the launcher, which the launcher is a very basic program and it doesn't really take a lot of resources. And two, they also state that this crossover software does not work on anything except an x86 processor. So in other words, this is not going to work on most of your mobile tablets and devices unless they are running a very new, very high performance, very expensive x86 processor. So this is more of a, hey, look what we can do now that maybe in 5 years might have some real world applications than it is actual news. That's my 2 cents. Anyone else?
I mean, I think you're right. Steam just does not have a client that runs on ARM processors. So it's a neat proof of concept. I think that it bolsters, like, it's more to the benefit of the Remix OS team, because it's showing that what they're doing is like that. Maybe not that it's viable, but it's more. It could be more than just, hey, look what I can do. Like, I put Android on my Chromebook, like that sort of thing.
Android on Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now that would be an interesting trick.
It's maybe a half step past that, what Matt just said about the Nintendo. I don't know why you would do it.
It's
I mean, I get it,
on the Apple Watch or whatever that was. Remember?
What's that?
It's Flappy Bird on the Apple Watch. Or remember whatever that kid had?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's that. It's like, okay, you did it once, you'll never use it. It's cool that you did it, but
it's kind of a proof of concept more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, the Codeweavers team, these are the same people that, like, they release Crossover, which it's paid software for Linux that allows you to run certain Windows apps, a lot of games too, that normally don't have a Linux client on Linux. So I do find that interesting, that a company that has been successful in the Linux open source space, while at the same time charging money for what they do. I mean, it's kind of rare. Like, I think you could argue that Android falls in that space too, because it's open source and everything like that. But and it makes money. But these people are making software for Linux that for a price, and people are paying for it. So the fact that they're even looking at this, it does pique my interest.
Well, what's interesting? I mean, I'm an open source guy in terms of being a proponent of it. I think it's a good thing for everyone, and I think that eventually we will probably get to a point where there will be a viable open source alternative to the desktop that has the capabilities that most people use. As a matter of fact, you could make a very strong case for the fact that we're already there, because we do so much in web browsers that it never has to touch the hardware of the machine directly. And that's a very valid argument. The simple fact of the matter is that at this time, this is one of those, okay, I've got a spare PC, so I installed Android for PCs on it. Then I ran an emulator that allowed me to run PC games on my Android PC. So why don't you just install freaking Windows already and be done with it? And you would be, right there. It's one of those things where only hackers care about this, and even a small subset of hackers don't even care about it. And yes, I apologize for you all seeing my kitty taking a bath. Really, Moosh? On TV? Seriously?
Hey, if you want to play video games, get a PS4, okay? There, I said
Or
it.
a PC.
Why? And then you got a dick with video cards. You got to, I used to like doing that. There was a time when I was young and had life, and I actually liked doing things like that. That time has long come and gone.
Now he's a father. He's got things to think about.
Good point.
Daddy don't have time to.
I just don't have time. I don't know.
Yeah, by the way, you guys ever heard about React OS?
Negative, Ghost Rider. What is that?
React OS is a project that I check in with every once in a great while. But the original spin was a open source spin. The original spin of it was that it was going to be a open sourced package by package rewrite that was completely compatible with Windows XP APIs.
Huh.
You were going to be able to run any program that could run in Windows XP under React OS with no loss in functionality and no loss of no loss of performance, and it would be a native installed operating system that was using a Linux kernel and then custom API stacked on top of it. They're at 0.4 alpha on their version, and they've been at it for years. So evidently that's a lot more difficult than one might think. Doesn't really surprise me. But the idea, the concept, is awesome.
The concept of getting sued by Microsoft?
No, they are completely... They're not violating any Microsoft patents or trademarks or anything of that nature. They're just writing their own.
Well, to bring it back real quickly before we close up, that was Google's argument. and they lost in court. So
Good
that
point.
could be the problem.
Yep. Good point.
But I'm not a lawyer. What the hell do I know?
Eric, what's our email address? Do you know that? You don't have
That
to.
is something I do know.
You don't have to be a lawyer to know that.
No, you don't, Matt. You don't have to pass the bar to send us an email at show@attackoftheandroids.com.
Also, you definitely want to join in the chat room and check us out live, attackoftheandroids.com/live every week. Well, not every week, but most weeks. We try to. So
Weeks.
most weeks. But we're pretty accessible. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that shit, so check it out. And subscribe in iTunes and Stitcher. We're on there. So direct any hate mail back to Eric. He'll forward it to Joey. And we'll get it read right out. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and have a great night. Peace. Bye.